Okay, so again, another topic that we cover with heat transfer is convection. We see that both in our energy unit, and then it comes up again in weather. So it's important that they have a good understanding of that, and it helps to have a lot of visuals for that. So I use these activities sometimes when I'm teaching energy, and then I do a modification or one of these other examples when I teach weather as a review. So this one takes a shoebox filled with water. The exact amount is not terribly important. And then just some regular size styrofoam cups. Put cold water in one and hot water in the other. And food coloring, obviously, the food coloring is only to help it be seen. So the kids know that blue is going to stand for cold and red is going to stand for hot, but it doesn't really matter. That's just there as an addition. All right, so then you're going to take your cups and you're going to submerge them in the water and hold it in place with a clothespin. Or if it doesn't want to stay clipped, it might float. I don't know. Here we go. Let's try that again. There, that's better. And you're going to put those on opposite sides. All right. Then you're going to take something to poke a hole. You don't want the hole to be too big, like with a pencil, because then the water comes out too small, but sometimes a paper clip is not quite big enough. So you just kind of have to test out and see what works well. I'm just using the tip of the thermometer probe for this. And you want to poke a hole near the bottom of the cup so that there's plenty of water pressure. And you're going to just let that out. Now you're going to want to advise them that even though it's really cool to look from the top, they're actually going to see a better view from this, from the side. And you'll see that the hot water is sinking to the bottom and the blue is going to come across the top, so that they're actually seeing how the more dense, whoops, I had that backwards. The more dense is going to sink and the warmer is going to rise, so the warm air. Now, I have to remind my students not to jiggle the table, because the more it jiggles, the faster the two colors blend, and that loses some of the effect of this. So I see that I bumped the table a little bit too much, but you can typically see a pretty clear warm water at the top and the cool water at the bottom. And of course, as those two temperatures equalize, then the colors will mix, but at least for a few minutes you get a pretty good layering of the two colors. And this is a very easy thing to do, and I do let my students do this in groups. So sometimes I do it as a demonstration, and sometimes I let them do it. They generally are pretty good without making a mess. Now another version of that, oh, I probably shouldn't have moved it right there. Just move it a little bit farther over, is to put the water in here and have cups underneath it. I've got 4 cups, 2 of them have water and 2 of them are empty. We have hot water. We have hot water in this cup and cold water in this cup. And you're just going to drip your food coloring over the top of those. The temperature of the water above those cups will have been affected by what's underneath there. And again, you should see some layering. You can use droppers, some pipettes to get these a little bit more carefully put in there sometimes. Hopefully, you'll see that hopefully the red will go up to the top and the blue will move across the bottom, and they will see the currents. I'm not seeing a whole lot, but the blue does seem to be staying at the bottom more, and the red is streaming up a little higher. The hotter the water compared to the bigger difference between the temperatures, obviously you get some better separation. Another way to show that and to have them do it individually, and they have fun with this, and a lot of times I use this as the review when we get to to weather, is I have my hot and my cold water, And just as a reminder, they know heat rises, they hear that over and over and over, but to actually see it. So taking 2 clear straws, you're going to have them put their finger over the end, the game they play all the time with milk cartons. First, you're going to put the red, we'll put the red in. You want to put your finger, or put it just part way in, stick your finger over the top and lift it up, make a good seal, and then you're going to do the same thing in the cold. And you get a nice separation. You see the warm on top and the cool on the bottom, and they go, ooh, how cool is that? And I usually just have an empty cup then, it's the trash cup, and they can empty it out. Sometimes I give them the same straw, sometimes I give them a clean straw. Then I want them to do it in reverse. So they put in, don't go all the way to the bottom because you have to have enough room to put both colors in there. So sometimes I need help reminding how to get water in there. So you do the cold first and then the warm, and when, oops, not making a good seal. And they don't layer because the cold then is trying to go down and the warm is trying to go up, and so they will mix. And then you end up with the purple. So then I ask them to explain why it worked the first time and it didn't work the second time. And they have to think about the water changing places in the column of the straw. But that's a simple thing to do. And again, they can do that at their own tables, and that's a lot of fun for them to do. If we are teaching remotely, that's something that they could easily do at home with some hot water and cold water and a little food coloring, and the coloring obviously doesn't matter. But they can take a straw at their house, and that's something that they could replicate and then explain to you. The last thing is called rheoscopic fluid. The one that you are getting is in a concentrate form like this, so you will need to dilute it with water first. It's just a sort of a milky white, has a pearly, pearly color to it. When you heat it, and this is being heated right now, it's a little hard to see the convection that's going on in there. Hopefully when I put some food coloring in there, it'll be a little bit more obvious, but that's another way for them to see the air or water or magma or whatever that is moving all the time. I tell them that the air columns are moving all the time. We just are unaware of it because it's obviously not visible, but adding food coloring makes it a lot more visible, and I'm hoping that this will show the swirling a little bit more as it mixes in. And you just see the rising and the falling of the liquid in there, the pearlescence of the, it's not showing. It's a little difficult for you to see probably from the camera, but you do see the swirling, and this is reusable, so, but it will evaporate, so once it cools, you can put it back in a container just labeled with your safety data sheet in your chemical storage closet.